focus is on umpiring. So I'm going to conduct this as I would an umpiring seminar if I was conducting one here within Australia or if I was doing one overseas somewhere. I'm going to be introducing some general concepts which I think are vital to umpiring and which I think people can always improve on. There's the good news, there's no rule changes for 2018. This is the second year that we've had no changes, and in previous years we've had changes, and to be honest, stuff up after stuff up after stuff up. Not only here in Australia, but all over the world, because there have been so many changes that when you get a flood of changes like that, you get different interpretations from different countries and different tournaments, and even from different umpires managers at all these major tournaments. So the time now is to settle down. Hockey's got some problems with rule changes. There's over 130 countries that are affiliated to the FIH, over 130 countries that play hockey. And once one change is made, that change obviously is told from country to country. You've all seen the rules book. I've told lots of you that the best thing you can do with your rule book is that. Because it's not the rule book that counts, it's the way that those rules are interpreted, and you can't read those interpretations in the rules book. So because the rule book itself is translated into 26 or 27 different languages, there are various nuances, various phrases, various emphases which differ from country to country and from language to language. So it is pretty hard to establish consistent interpretations throughout the world. So the time now is to settle down and let's work on what's happened over the past few years, what's not worked so well, and what we can improve on, and what is working well, and how we can even enhance that as well. This is what we've done really well, I think, and what we've improved on in the last few years in particular. I rarely see umpires now penalise players for obstruction, whereas previously, in previous years, and I'm talking about maybe certainly 10, but maybe coming back 7, 8, 9 years ago, obstruction was one of these areas where umpires were just blowing willy-nilly because that was the way the game was interpreted at that time. We've now really loosened up obstruction. And as an umpire, you're only going to blow for obstruction if the player is trying to reach the ball. And this is a key thing that I'm always stressing to umpires. Some of the older umpires and older players, and I'm not looking at you, Shrimp, you're not even safe over there, all right? Even worse. Even worse. We don't have any neurosurgeons in the room from what I can tell at the moment, so I can't help you there. But I see so many, or I used to see, and I still see and hear about it happening in the older grades, right? Say the masters and so on, where we have players who'll put a ball into space. You're going to get it tonight, Leslie. Put a ball into space, and then they do that with their sticks. Okay, come over the top. Now there's two things. First of all, that's really dangerous. I've seen players have their foreheads completely split open by a player doing that. All right, completely split open. It's nothing major because you've got a fairly strong skull underneath there, but the flesh just rips open, and because it's a facial injury, there's heaps and heaps of blood. So if they've got their stick up there, there's no chance of obstruction. But that player that's using their stick dangerously should be penalised. Because if that's the only way that you can stop them doing it, then you have to take some fairly aggressive action to stop them doing that, to re-educate them. So that's one thing. To get an obstruction, you've got to be trying to play the ball, and you can't play the ball if the stick is up there. Also, the ball has to be playable, within reach. When I'm discussing this with umpires, I use my arm as an example. There's the stick. There's the ball on the end. Once the ball goes any further than the tip of my stick, it's out of reach. I've lost control of it. so I can't get an obstruction. The most valid form of obstruction these days is an active physical obstruction, where a player's coming past the defender or an opponent and there's an active movement to block that runner. That is the most obvious type of obstruction that should happen these days. And we don't see even a lot of that. So I think we umpire obstruction very well. I think the players understand obstruction very well. I think we umpire stick checks really well. There was a time, once again, I'm speaking historically because we've all been in the game for a while, I think. There was a time when every time that noise was heard, it was classified as a stick check, and you get a whistle. The objective today in modern hockey is to blow that whistle as little as possible. Keep the game flowing, as few stoppages as possible. So every time there was that noise, there used to be a whistle. But now, umpires and coaches understand this also really well, I think. Players taking the ball down, defender comes in, there's a clash of sticks. I'm the player with the ball goes in that direction, then yes, I have been stick checked. Then all you have to watch out for is whether or not I can reach the ball, in which case you play advantage. If I can't reach it, I get the free hit. Alternatively, if I'm taking the ball down, the defender comes in. Once again, clash of sticks, ball goes in that direction, it's a clean tackle. No foul, it's just play on. And I think over the last few years, we have really done really well at all levels of the game in understanding that. I go to watch most Division 1 games out at the State Hockey Centre. I don't see it happen. I hear a lot of noises, but I don't hear the whistle, and that's the important thing. And when there is a whistle and there is a bad stick check, it's usually identified. I'm not going to say always, because let's be blunt straight away, umpires make mistakes. Players make mistakes, coaches make mistakes, umpires make mistakes. So nobody's perfect. And that's one of the reasons we have talks like this, to try to give everybody an objective to get better and better and better. I think everyone in the game now understands the concept of danger a lot better than they used to. Once again, there used to be a time when someone hit the ball from a free hit or from field play, and as soon as it left the ground, because it was rising, there'd be a whistle, high ball. I get really cheesed off even today when I hear some coaches talk about high ball. There's nothing wrong with high balls. I even heard one coach last season say high ball into the circle. You know, that's 20 years old. I sometimes wonder where these people get their ideas from. You know, high ball into the circle. They used to do that when I was playing. Last century, literally. So, danger is obvious now. There's nothing illegal about hitting the ball off the ground. But there is something illegal about hitting the ball off the ground and creating danger. But we are now very strict about how we identify danger. If I hit a ball here at Leslie and it hits her, that's the clearest, right? You don't have to be an Olympic umpire to recognise that that's dangerous. If I hit a ball towards her and she's quick enough to get out of the way, then that's dangerous also. But if I hit a ball at 100k an hour that's going past her right elbow there, there's no danger, so let it go. There's sometimes a misconcept that because a player can hit the ball hard, and the modern hockey player can hit the ball very, very hard, but there's no rule against hitting the ball hard. So just because the ball is hit hard doesn't mean you have to penalise it if it's off the ground. Danger, and that's all we're looking for. Has it hit the player? Has she to get out of the way? Really easy to identify. And because we umpire balls off the ground in this way, once again, we've eliminated so much unnecessary whistle. I'm going to keep going back to this all the time, right? Eliminating unnecessary whistle. Leslie?
Now, if I've been stupid enough to try and intercept the ball, I'm creating the danger,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And therefore, it should be play on if I miss it.
Correct.
And that's it?
That's it. Yeah. If you deflect it into somebody else, then that's another matter. Yeah. If you miss it, there's nothing happened. If you collect it, great. Great skill, you've pulled it down. Yeah. It's either play on, or if it's deflected by you, we've got another dangerous situation over there, then it's penalised over there. The self-pass is a really modern introduction into the game of hockey. The concept is to speed up the game so that we don't have to stop, free hit, free hit, free hit, 5 metres, moving everybody away and so on, which is what used to happen on a free hit. Now, whistle goes, take off. And the reason I think that we umpire it well is because although it's only a few years old, initially it was umpired very, very pedantically. But now we let it go. All right, most umpires now, and I'm not taking the credit for this, but a lot of umpires now are being educated to hold their whistles for a lot longer than they used to be. So with the self-pass, if a player's taking the ball away and there's someone travelling with her, you're not going to interfere, just let it go, unless this player starts to channel me, in which case, then she's fouling me. But at the level of the game that I watch, and at the State Hockey Centre or out at East or whatever, the umpires identify the self-pass and manage it really well. And they manage it really well because they only step in when there's a really obvious infringement by an opponent. All right, I think those two key words there, obvious infringement. Otherwise, let it go. All right, that's what we're trying to do all the time. Let the game go. Let it flow. Step